Hey, tonight we're exploring the strange and beautiful ways your body still remembers a world that no longer exists. Outside, the night has settled in its quiet rhythm. Streetlights hum. Maybe there's a breeze outside your window, rustling leaves that have heard 1,000 years of secrets. You lie back still, your breath soft and steady. But inside, something stirs. Not thoughts, not dreams, something older. It begins as a twitch, that sudden, slipping sensation just as you're about to fall asleep. Your leg kicks or your shoulder jerks. It's not a dream of falling. It's your body remembering something from before you were even human. Scientists call it a hypnic jerk. Most people experience it. You're not broken. You're not even restless. You're ancestral. The theory goes like this. Long ago, your ancestors slept in trees, lightweight, exposed, and in danger. Every time their muscles relaxed too deeply, their bodies would snap back, just in case they were dozing into a deadly fall. And though your bed is soft and your world is concrete and metal, something in you still thinks you're perched on a branch, watching, bracing, just in case. Some researchers think it's just a quirk of the nervous system, a misfire, a cross signal as your muscles power down. But the pattern is too persistent, too widespread. Across cultures, across centuries, this falling reflex haunts the edge of consciousness. One last check, one last twitch, and then you're allowed to drift. It's strange, isn't it? How a forgotten threat can echo so clearly in your quietest moments. That moment when your body seizes as sleep begins, it can be startling. But maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's memory. A soft, primitive reminder. You're safe, right? This time, you don't remember the forest. You never clung to branches under starlight. But your body did, in its own way. And it's not the only story it remembers. Think of your fingers. The way they curl slightly when relaxed, as if grasping an invisible vine, a phantom rope. Or your shoulders, built not just for lifting, but for swinging. Even your feet, narrow and precise, shaped for balance. The modern world may not ask you to climb, but deep inside, your body still prepares to. As you lie still now, breathing slow, you carry within you 100 generations of people who survived by staying alert, even in their sleep. It makes sense, doesn't it? Evolution doesn't erase, it layers. And even the softest instincts can remain, buried deep like fossils beneath the skin. Some scientists suggest your brain, even in sleep, maintains microvigilance. That part of you always listens. Not just for alarms or sirens, but for rustling leaves, snapping twigs, or footsteps that never come. When you wake for no reason at 3 a.m., when your heart races for a second with no clear cause, perhaps it's not anxiety, perhaps it's biology, survival coded into stillness. You can almost feel it now, can't you? That ancient hum beneath the silence. Not danger, just awareness. Awareness of a world your body still half expects. There's a quiet irony here, that in order to relax, truly relax, your body needs to go through this old ritual of alertness. One last twitch, one last flicker of vigilance before letting go. And sometimes it doesn't let go completely. Night terrors, sleep paralysis, the sensation of a presence in the room, these, too, may be echoes of vigilance gone too far. The brain watching so hard, it forgets to turn off. A watchtower without threat, a sentinel without need. Researchers still debate this. They wonder why the body would keep such inefficient leftovers. Why not evolve them away? But maybe you're not inefficient. Maybe you're just honest. You carry your history like shadows, quiet, faded, but never fully gone. So tonight, as you drift, remember this. Your body knows how to survive. It always has, even in sleep, even now. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you enjoy quiet stories like this. And if you're still awake, I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You feel your chest rise and fall, warm under the weight of a blanket. Outside, the world may be changing faster than you can follow, but inside you're carrying maps older than language. That twitch before sleep, it's not the startle of modern life. It's a foot slipping from a branch. It's a pause in the dark. It's the past brushing against you, asking if you're still listening. You shift slightly in bed, the sheets soft against your skin, and for a moment, there's a quiet tension in your lower back. Maybe it's nothing, just the way you're laying. Or maybe it's something older. Your spine curves gently beneath you, shaped over millions of years. But if you press your fingers just above where it ends, you'll find a tiny remnant, a memory in bone. It's called the coccyx, or more simply, the tailbone. You don't wag it, you don't swing from it, but it's there. Long ago, your ancestors had tails. Not metaphorical ones, but real, fleshy, twitching extensions that helped them balance through trees or signal to others in their group. Primates used tails for agility, stability, and sometimes even communication. A small flick meaning follow me or danger. That tail was as useful as your fingers are now. And then something shifted. We stood up. We walked differently. We evolved. But the tail never fully vanished. Instead, it faded. It curled inward, shrunk, left behind a trace, a whisper of its former self. A piece of anatomy that no longer moves, yet still shapes your body from within. You might think of it as an evolutionary scar, but it's not useless. It anchors muscles and ligaments, supports you when you sit. Some surgeons even report that when they remove a damaged coccyx, patients feel off balance, as though the body knows something is missing, even if the mind doesn't. In rare cases, very rare, babies are born with actual tails, soft, flexible extensions at the base of the spine. Doctors remove them quietly, early. Most people never know, but it happens. Proof that the code for tails still lingers in your DNA, like a forgotten note in a symphony. Scientists call it an atavism, the reappearance of a trait long thought gone, like a hidden doorway briefly opening again. And it's not just tails. There are other stories like this. Some people grow extra nipples, vestiges of mammalian traits. Others are born with the ability to move their ears slightly, a skill once useful for pinpointing sounds in the dark. You might have noticed you can't quite do that, but if you concentrate, if you try, maybe you can feel the muscles twitch faintly, as if wanting to remember. The coccyx isn't elegant. It's awkward, fragile, easily bruised. You probably don't think about it until you fall or sit too long on a hard surface. And yet, it's the quiet base of your posture. Your invisible tailbone holds you upright in a world where tails no longer guide balance. It's strange to think about, isn't it? That something so unnecessary has been carried this far. And no one quite agrees on why. Some say it's just not harmful enough to be selected against. Others think its small structural roles are worth keeping. But maybe there's another answer. Maybe your body doesn't just evolve forward. Maybe it remembers. Not in thoughts, but in tissue. Not in words, but in bone. Your spine, like an ancient road, leads to a cul-de-sac, a dead end. But not quite, not dead, just paused. And as you lie here, quiet, with nothing chasing you and no trees to swing from, that tiny piece of you, that phantom tail, rests beneath you, silent, still, patient. It's not asking for attention. It's not trying to move. It's simply being, a thread between you and the ones who came before. The tailbone is rarely talked about, except in yoga classes or after minor injuries. But anatomists will tell you, it's more than a leftover. It's a convergence point, a place where the body anchors its movement, its structure, its weight. You are walking history, even in your sleep. And if you could see inside yourself now, gently lit, organs resting, bones still, you'd find that curled little bone at the bottom of your spine, curled like a question mark, like a secret, like something waiting. Researchers still debate how long the tailbone will last in humans. Will it disappear completely over thousands of years? Or will it remain, quiet and unchanged, a small rebellion against forgetting? You turn slightly, the weight of sleep settling in. Your body, after all, is not just yours. It's borrowed, shaped by ancestors whose names you'll never know, balanced by bones you rarely think of. And tonight, beneath blankets and silence, you carry a tale that isn't there, and yet always is. You feel it sometimes, a subtle shift across your skin, goosebumps, a sudden chill or a feeling you can't quite name, and then your body responds. Tiny muscles beneath the surface contract, raising each hair ever so slightly, like soldiers standing to attention. But for what? You're not cold enough to shiver. You're not afraid in the way you understand fear. And yet your body reacts, automatically, silently, obediently. This reaction is called piloerection, a word that sounds clinical, but describes something oddly poetic. A ripple of alertness through your skin, as if your body wants to appear larger, or brace for something unseen. In animals, this makes perfect sense. A frightened cat fluffs its fur to look bigger, more threatening. A porcupine raises its quills. Even birds puff up in the cold, trapping warm air close to the body. But for you, a creature of blankets, heaters, and logic, your hair rises for reasons that don't seem to apply anymore. You don't grow thick fur. You can't change your appearance by bristling. And yet, the signal still fires, as faithfully as it did thousands of years ago. Why? Some scientists believe it's an automatic part of your fight or flight system. That moment when your heart races and your senses sharpen, your body once used every trick it could to survive, including making itself look larger, more intimidating. Hair was a part of that strategy. Others see it as a thermal reaction, a distant cousin of shivering, a way to hold warmth when fur was thick and useful. But in your case, the gesture is symbolic, a ghost movement, your skin acting out a defense no longer needed. And still it happens when you feel awe, or hear a beautiful song, or stand beneath a vast open sky. Goosebumps appear not just from fear, but from wonder. It's almost as if your body can't tell the difference between terror and beauty. Both trigger the same silent signal. Look closer. There's something strangely comforting about that your skin listens as closely as your heart, that it feels the world without asking your permission. If you trace the bumps on your forearm now, lightly, just with your fingertips, you might sense the ancient ritual beneath them, the invisible fur that no longer grows, the instinct to react long after the cause is gone. And sometimes your body overreacts. It creates goosebumps in situations that don't make sense. The wind shifts, a memory stirs, or you simply remember a feeling too large to hold. These are the moments when your body steps out of time. Biologists call this kind of reflex a vestigial trait, something inherited from a distant past, still active but no longer useful, like wisdom teeth, or the appendix, or the tailbone beneath you. These parts linger because evolution isn't a tidy editor. It adapts, yes, but it also carries things forward just in case. And here's the eerie part. In extreme fear, some people report their hair not just rising, but moving. A crawling sensation across the scalp, a tightening along the arms. You've likely felt it. That primal surge when something feels off, and your skin seems to sense it first. There's no rational threat, nothing chasing you, no sound, no shadow, but your body whispers, alert, and your skin listens. This might have saved your ancestors, a subtle warning, a collective bodily decision to freeze, to hide, to wait. Today, it feels like overreaction, but maybe it's memory, a rehearsal for a danger your body hasn't forgotten, and still the purpose is debated. Researchers wonder, why hasn't this reflex disappeared? Wouldn't natural selection phase it out? But maybe it's not useless. Maybe it's not a leftover. Maybe it's a signal that bypasses language, a way for the body to say, something matters here. Because that's the strange truth. Goosebumps don't just arise from cold or fear. They show up in moments of meaning. When something reaches you, through music, through memory, through quiet awe, your skin responds. Not with logic, but with attention. Even now, you can recall a time when a song gave you chills, or when a voice cracked in just the right way, or when you saw someone you hadn't expected and felt your arms prickle before you could speak. Those are not mistakes. They are reminders that your body has its own language, one shaped by survival, by sensation, by stories older than words. So as you lie here, still and warm, think of those quiet tremors across your skin. They're not random, they're not broken signals, they're echoes from when you were more creature than person. When danger was everywhere, and beauty was rare, when everything mattered deeply and immediately. And maybe your body still believes it does. Eyes in the darkness. The room is dim now. Maybe just a soft glow from a hallway light, or the faint flicker of something electronic across the wall. But your eyes, they're still watching. Even behind closed lids, even in sleep, part of you is alert to the dark. You've probably felt it, that sensation of being watched, a subtle pressure, a presence behind you, or just beyond your field of view. You turn, there's nothing there. And still, something tightens in your chest, some part of you not quite convinced. Your brain is remarkably sensitive to eyes, not just faces, eyes specifically. It can recognize a pair of eyes staring at you faster than almost any other stimulus, even in low light, even from the corner of your vision. This reaction is rooted deep in your visual cortex, but also in something older, the amygdala, the fear center of your brain. When you spot eyes, especially eyes that seem to be looking at you, your body prepares. It doesn't matter if they're friendly or not. Attention is attention. And in the wild, attention could mean danger. For your ancestors, eyes in the dark were almost never good news. Think of it. Predators hunting at night, wolves, big cats, lurking in the shadows, their eyes reflecting moonlight, glowing faintly in the gloom. For early humans, noticing those twin lights in the distance, just in time, might mean the difference between life and death. That's why your brain developed something called the hyperactive agency detection system. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. When in doubt, you assume you're being watched. That something, someone, is there, even if they're not. This might be why you see faces in clouds, or feel a presence in an empty room, or glance nervously at a pile of clothes that looks just a little too human in the corner at night. Your brain errs on the side of caution. Evolutionarily, that makes sense. It's far safer to be wrong and afraid than wrong and dead. Some researchers believe that's why we evolved to find eye contact so powerful, even uncomfortable, because those two tiny points of attention staring into you once meant threat or love or everything in between. Now, imagine being in a cave, just a fire flickering, the woods outside stretching endlessly. Someone stirs beside you, and in the distance, a pair of eyes glint. Are they real? A trick of the flame? You can't be sure, but your pulse doesn't wait. It quickens. That reaction still lives inside you. It's why horror movies show just a face in the dark. Why shadows with eyes disturb us more than anything else. It's why, even in safe places, your breath hitches when something almost looks back at you. Even now, in your own home, that system is working. Quietly, patiently. Your peripheral vision is part of this too. It's finely tuned to detect motion in low light, the kind of motion that might have once signaled a predator circling. You can't read or see detail in the periphery, but you can sense a flicker, a movement, a presence. It's not paranoia, it's design. And in some people, this system is even more sensitive. Scopiesthesia, the feeling of being watched, has been tested in psychological studies with mixed results. Some findings suggest people can detect another's gaze without seeing it directly. Others argue it's just coincidence, projection, a glitch of expectation. But the debate remains open. Not because of lack of data, but because the human experience is slippery. Your instincts are old, older than memory, older than language. And the part of you that reacts to eyes in the dark doesn't ask for permission. It simply fires. Because once, long ago, that fire kept you alive. Even infants just a few days old will turn their gaze toward faces, toward eyes. Not voices, not shapes, but eyes. And in the dark, they're drawn to contrast, to whites and darks, to circles inside circles, like stars or pupils. Somewhere along the way, you began assigning meaning to eyes. Not just survival, but connection, trust, emotion. Maybe that's the true legacy of those watching shapes in the dark. They became not just danger, but relationship. You close your eyes now, and behind them, your mind still watches. Dreams flicker like firelight, shapes shift. But part of you still listens for that ancient sign, the eyes that appear too suddenly, too still, too knowing. And maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's just history, echoed through a nervous system that's been keeping vigil for far longer than your lifetime. So the next time you feel that tingle on the back of your neck, when nothing is there, but something feels like it might be, you'll know. You're not imagining it, you're remembering it. A noise, a shift, a sound that shouldn't be there. Maybe it's the creak of a settling floor, or the whisper of fabric moving. You know it's harmless, probably. And yet, before you can think, your body reacts. Your shoulders jolt, your neck tightens, your muscles contract for just a breath, preparing for something you can't even name. That reflex? It's called the startle response, and it's among the oldest, fastest reactions your nervous system has. A deep, automatic ripple that moves through you in less than 1/10 of a second. You don't choose to flinch. You don't decide to stiffen. It just happens. And that's the point. Long before complex thought, before language, before plans, before tools, your ancestors relied on this instant jolt to stay alive. A sudden rustle in the grass? That might be a predator. A snap of a branch? Maybe an enemy. No time to reason. No time to wait. Just move. Just brace. The startle is your nervous system's emergency brake, and it goes deeper than your muscles. Your heart rate spikes, your pupils dilate, your breathing changes. Every system in your body tilts slightly towards survival. For a moment, your entire being listens, and then it passes. You tell yourself it was nothing. But the reflex doesn't wait for logic. Even today, it's always there, under the surface, ready, when a balloon pops, when a loud voice breaks the silence, when something drops behind you. It's not fear, it's preparedness. Infants are born with it. It's called the Moro reflex, a tiny startle that causes newborns to fling out their arms and then curl back in. A legacy from a time when falling meant death. Babies who gripped instinctively might be the ones who survived the night. As you grow older, that reaction becomes quieter, more internal, but it never disappears. Researchers have found that the startle reflex can even be triggered by imagined threats. A dream, a memory, a sudden thought. The body doesn't need real danger, just possibility. And strangely, the reaction is asymmetrical. You'll often startle more when sounds come from behind or from the left. Some believe this is because the right hemisphere of your brain, the side that processes sudden novel stimuli, responds faster to danger on your left side. A biological quirk with mysterious purpose. Others say it's just noise in the data. The truth, as always, remains uncertain. But what's certain is this. Your body listens to the world in ways your conscious mind never could. And sometimes, it remembers the world as it used to be. When night meant vulnerability, when silence meant risk, when a sound, even a small one, could unravel everything. You've probably experienced a moment where your whole body reacted, and then you laughed, shrugged it off. I didn't even know I was tense, you say. But that's exactly what your reflexes are built for, to take over when your awareness hesitates. It's not weakness. It's not irrational. It's intelligence that lives in your bones, your muscles, your breath. In animals, this same reflex saves lives. A rabbit hears a crack and bolts before identifying the source. A bird flutters skyward in a blur. The startle becomes motion. The motion becomes escape. In you, the motion is often restrained. Just a quick jolt, a sharp inhale. But inside, the old systems still activate. And there's something else. The startle reflex doesn't just prepare you for flight. It also helps reset your attention. In psychological experiments, people who are startled become more alert, not just emotionally, but cognitively. Their senses sharpen. Reaction times improve. It's as if your body is saying, "Wake up, something matters," even when it doesn't. Some researchers think this reflex helped early humans survive not just predators, but each other. Sudden movements, surprise attacks, emotional outbursts. The world of early tribes was not always safe. Sometimes the most dangerous sound was not the roar of a beast, but the shout of someone you thought was a friend. The startle reflex helped you navigate the edges of trust, and it still does. So tonight, when you hear the house creak or feel your breath catch for no clear reason, remember, you're not broken. You're tuned to a world long gone and maybe not completely gone. Because every creak could still be a branch, every sigh of wind a footstep. Your body doesn't assume it's danger. It simply reminds you to check, to pause, and then to return. The reflex fades quickly. The system resets. You sink again, deeper, softer. And now as you lie there, you feel it. Your body's deep awareness, not paranoid, not anxious, just awake in its own quiet way. You don't need to fight it. Let it do its work. Let the reflex come and let it go, like a wave through your chest, a ripple in calm water. Your ancestors survived in part because they startled easily, and you tonight carry that same spark, that silent readiness. You probably won't need it, but your body doesn't mind. It's just there, listening. Your chest rises, then falls, then rises again. The rhythm is so familiar, so automatic, that you rarely notice it. But each breath you take is older than you, older than your species, older even than the trees outside your window. Inhale, and you are breathing like a fish. Strange, isn't it? That in this quiet moment, warm in your bed, with all the safety of modern life wrapped around you, your breath still follows a pattern formed in oceans. You share a design with creatures that slithered from the water 500 million years ago. The way your diaphragm contracts, the way your chest expands, the way your body prioritizes oxygen even before thought. It's not just biology, it's inheritance. Before there were lungs, there were gills. Before there were voices, there was pressure, pulse, and flow. Early fish didn't breathe like you do, but when some of them began to explore shallower waters, their structures changed. Their air bladders became lungs. Their gill arches shifted and adapted. And over millions of years, those changes echoed forward into amphibians, into mammals, into you. The hiccup you sometimes experience, a leftover from those early gilled ancestors. Scientists call it singultus, but the motion itself, that sharp, involuntary diaphragm contraction followed by a closed glottis, closely resembles the breathing pattern of early aquatic creatures as they tried to manage water and air. It's as if your body sometimes glitches and remembers. And there's more. The way your throat splits into two passages, one for food, one for air, is efficient, but not perfect. Humans often choke far more easily than other animals. Why? Because our speech evolved rapidly, and it pulled anatomy into a compromise. Our larynx dropped lower in the throat to make room for a wider range of sound. But the price was vulnerability. You gained voice, but lost safety. So every time you swallow and breathe without choking, you're performing a delicate balancing act your ancestors never had to manage. You also sigh, and that, too, is ancient. Researchers found that sighing, that long, deep breath you release when tired, overwhelmed, or suddenly relaxed, isn't just emotional, it's physiological. It helps reinflate the alveoli in your lungs, the tiny air sacs where oxygen meets your blood. If you never sighed, your lungs would slowly lose function. You'd suffocate in silence. Even in sleep, your body sighs for you. Every few minutes, it takes that longer, deeper breath, without you knowing, without asking, like a caretaker, like something older, watching quietly. There's also the yawn, that strange stretching breath that seems to serve no clear purpose. For centuries, scientists debated its meaning. Was it boredom, fatigue, a cooling mechanism for the brain, a social signal? The answer, it seems, might be all of these, or none completely. But what's most eerie is how universal yawning is. Birds yawn, reptiles yawn, even fish, in a way, yawn. A shared reflex. A pulse of breath expanding the face and chest, something primal, something shared. You yawn not just because you're tired, but because you are part of something continuous. And when you breathe together with someone, when your inhales and exhales sync, that's not coincidence. That's biology recognizing biology, a dance encoded in your nervous system, one that says, we are the same. For now, even in this quiet, even as your breathing slows and deepens, there are layers beneath it. Some believe the rhythm of breath mirrors the tides, the in and out of water, the moon's pull on oceans, the ancient pulses of the planet itself. Your lungs rise and fall like waves, like you are cradled by something vast, and perhaps you are. In ancient practices, yoga, meditation, chants, breath becomes more than survival. It becomes memory, control, connection, a language without words. Monks breathe to slow their minds. Singers breathe to shape emotion. Soldiers breathe to steady their hands. And tonight, you breathe to remember, or maybe to forget, because breath is both a tether and a release. Some researchers argue that your breath can influence your brain, not just its oxygen, but its rhythm. that certain breathing patterns trigger shifts in emotion, in awareness. That calm breathing doesn't just reflect calmness, it creates it. That's what you're doing now, whether you meant to or not. As your body relaxes, your breath deepens. As your breath deepens, your thoughts soften. A loop, a spiral, a descent. You're not alone in this design. Every breath you take tonight is echoed by countless others, across species, across time, across the vast unspoken architecture of life. So breathe, not because you must, but because in doing so, you speak the language of the earth, of oceans, of all things that lived and still do. Your mouth is still now, quiet. Your jaw slackening slightly as sleep draws nearer. But deep inside, behind the softness of your lips and the curve of your cheek, there is tension, a silent readiness, a hinge that holds more than you think. Your jaw is just for chewing. It's one of the strongest muscles in your body relative to its size. And it didn't evolve only for meals. It evolved for survival, for gripping, for tearing, for defense. It evolved for another kind of life entirely. Long ago, your ancestors had jaws that functioned like powerful levers. In reptiles and early mammals, the jaw wasn't fused to the skull as tightly as it is now. It could unhinge, shift, flex, creating room for prey, for food, for ferocity. Today, your jaw is more refined, more limited, but traces of that primal mobility remain. Maybe you've noticed it. That aching tension along the sides of your face when you're stressed, the way your molars clench in your sleep. You might not know it, but your jaw is listening, reacting, remembering. This isn't metaphor, it's neurological. Your jaw holds what researchers call a fight or flight reflex anchor. When you're anxious, your body prepares for action. Muscles tighten, but the jaw often engages first, locking down instinctively. Because when danger loomed in the past, your mouth had to be ready to bite, to hold, to survive. The mass eater, that thick, square muscle near your cheek, can generate hundreds of pounds of force. It's absurdly strong for everyday life. You don't need that kind of pressure to eat a sandwich, but you have it anyway, carried forward like a torch through time. Even your teeth reflect this history. You still grow canines, slightly sharper than the others, not as exaggerated as those of carnivores, but not absent either. Evolution didn't erase them completely, it just softened them. They're not tools anymore, but they remain as suggestions, hints. And wisdom teeth? A perfect example of an evolutionary mismatch. Your ancestors had wider jaws, more teeth, and tougher diets. They needed the extra molars to grind fibrous plants, raw meats, and whatever the forest offered. But your jaw, reshaped by speech and modern food, has become smaller, too small in many cases, to comfortably hold all its parts. So the wisdom teeth stay buried, or they erupt painfully. Like ghosts from a past your mouth no longer fits. Dentists remove them, but the blueprint remains. There's also a strange little bone in your throat, the hyoid, floating, not quite connected to other bones. It supports your tongue and enables speech, but its design comes from early jawed fish. Some scientists think of it as a bridge between breathing and eating, between silence and voice. It's small, you'll never feel it, but it's the reason you can whisper in the dark. Another curious remnant? Ear bones. The tiny bones in your middle ear, the malleus, incus, and stapes, didn't begin as ear bones. They evolved from parts of the jaw. As your ancestors began to hear better, especially in low light or underground, certain jaw bones migrated upward, shrunk, tuned themselves to vibration. So when you hear a soft sound in the night, you are listening with what used to be a bite. This transformation is a masterpiece of evolutionary recycling. no part wasted, every function repurposed, and it adds another layer to the mystery of your jaw. Why is it so tight when you're afraid? Why does it ache when you grieve? Why do you clench it in moments you don't even remember? Perhaps because it's more than structure. It's a place where survival once lived. Researchers have found that people with anxiety often exhibit elevated muscle tone in the jaw, even children, even in sleep. They call it bruxism, unconscious teeth grinding. But some wonder if it's not just a symptom, but a signal, the body preparing to face something, even when the mind doesn't know what. You might think of your jaw as a holdover, an outdated relic from a rougher time. But maybe it's not outdated at all. Maybe it still serves in tension, in readiness, in expression. After all, this same jaw shapes your voice. It gives form to your laughter. It lets you speak names, tell stories, kiss loved ones goodnight. It may have once been a weapon. Now, it's an instrument. And yet, when you dream of falling or find yourself tense for no reason, your jaw is often the first to clench, silently, protectively. That's not weakness, that's inheritance. So tonight, as you relax, notice how your jaw softens. Not because the danger is gone, but because, for now, your body believes it is. And even the fiercest tools can rest. Your hands are calm now. One resting on your chest, maybe. The other tucked beneath your pillow. But if you look closely at them, really look, you'll notice something strange. They are not made for desks or keyboards or even steering wheels. They are made to hold. Each curve of your fingers, each pad of your thumb, each crease in your palm is part of a design forged not in modern life, but in trees, forests, heights. You are still a climber, even if your feet have long since touched the ground. The structure of your hand, especially your opposable thumb, is a marvel of evolutionary engineering. It allows you to grasp, to rotate, to pinch with precision. Other animals have paws, hooves, claws, but you have tools, not just in your hand, as your hand. Your fingers flex inward naturally, shaped to curl around a branch. When you hold a cup, when you grip a door handle, even when you reach in your sleep for the edge of a blanket, you are reenacting a movement older than speech. Researchers believe your ancestors spent millions of years in the trees. Long before you walked upright, you swung, balanced, reached, held on, and your hands remember. Each fingertip is covered with dense nerve endings, not just to sense pressure, but to feel texture, shape, even warmth. This tactile sensitivity once helped you judge whether a vine would hold your weight, or whether a fruit was ripe, or whether a surface would slip from your grasp. Now you use that same sensitivity to unlock your phone, to button a shirt, to type a message. But the function is the same, to interact with the world in fine, controlled detail. And your palmar reflex, the instinct of newborn babies to grasp a finger placed in their hand, is another echo from the canopy. Infant primates clung tightly to their mother's fur as they moved through the treetops. The ones who didn't grip didn't survive. You may have outgrown the reflex, but it lives on deep in your wiring. Even now in sleep, your hands may curl into gentle fists. They don't flatten, they don't sprawl, they hold, as if ready for something, as if they expect something to return. And there's something else, your fingernails. They might seem decorative or even annoying, but they're not without purpose. Nails are flattened claws, blunted, yes, but still serving a role. They support your fingertips. They help you apply force. They offer protection. In early humans, they may have even helped with climbing by providing subtle traction. Even your fingerprints, those swirling patterns unique to you, may not be for identification. as we so often use them today. Some scientists believe they improve your grip by increasing friction, allowing better contact with irregular surfaces, like bark, or stone, or skin. And the muscles of your forearm, the ones that ache when you carry something heavy or grip too long, are long-distance partners in this system. They control the tendons in your fingers. When you hold, when you climb, they work together, quietly, faithfully. In the past, your life may have depended on your grip. Now, your grip holds pens, or steering wheels, or hands. But the design hasn't changed. Climbers still exist inside you. Researchers have studied the force of the human grip. It's surprisingly strong, more so than most other primates when adjusted for size. Children especially possess a grip far more powerful than needed for their environment. Why? Because it's built in, not learned, inherited. And when that grip fades with age, with illness, it often signals deeper health changes. Doctors know this. They measure grip strength not just to test muscles, but to glimpse overall vitality. It's more than motion, it's resilience. Your hand is one of the few places where bone, muscle, skin, and nerve are all exposed to the world with such detail. It's not armored, not hidden. It's open, vulnerable, and still strong. Think of all the things your hands have held. Tree branches, ropes, the edge of cliffs in distant memory. Now pillows, books, the cheek of someone you love. But the shape is the same, the memory unchanged. Your hands are maps of past movement, of ancient survival, of holding on. So tonight, as your fingers relax and your palms rest, know this: you are still capable of climbing. Not trees perhaps, but moments, challenges, dreams. And even if the forest is gone, your grip remains. You lie still now. The air is gentle, your breathing soft. But deep in your throat, where breath meets sound and food divides from air, there's a small, fluttering trapdoor. You've never seen it. You can't feel it. And yet, it saves your life every single time you swallow. It's called the epiglottis, a flap of cartilage that folds down over your windpipe as you eat or drink, shielding your lungs from whatever passes through your mouth. You don't command it. You don't even think about it. But it moves, perfectly timed, countless times a day. And yet, it's not perfect. The human throat is a strange crossroads. Food and air pass through the same tunnel. No other species takes quite this risk. Horses, for example, can breathe and swallow simultaneously. Their anatomy separates those tasks entirely. But you gamble every meal, every sip, every breath. This design flaw is a side effect of a gift, speech. When humans evolved to speak, the larynx, your voice box, dropped lower in the throat, allowing a greater range of sound. That extra space lets you shape vowels, hum in tune, whisper secrets. But it came at a cost. You're more likely to choke than almost any other mammal. Evolution is a sculptor, but it rarely starts from scratch. It repurposes, compromises, keeps what works even if it's imperfect. The epiglottis became the solution, a gate, a reflex, a second-by-second shield against suffocation. And sometimes it fails. You've probably felt it, the sudden panic when something goes down the wrong pipe, the cough, the tension, the instinct to expel. That's not drama, that's survival. Your cough reflex is one of the strongest your body has. Violent, rapid, urgent, because your body knows what's at stake. In ancient times, inhaling the wrong thing, a seed, a piece of bone, a sliver of bark, could mean infection, could mean drowning, not in water, but in yourself. So your body overcorrects. It panics fast, because slow wasn't safe. Even babies, fresh into the world, are equipped with this reflex. And even in sleep, your airway stays guarded. If you try to swallow without waking, your body reacts sharply, jerking you awake, forcing you to cough, protecting you before you even understand why. Some scientists believe this urgency is not just physical, but emotional, that our fear of choking may be one of the deepest fears we carry, an inherited memory passed from mouths that once choked under moonlight. It's not dramatic, it's encoded, and your tongue, this flexible, articulate muscle we so often associate with taste and speech, also plays a role. It shapes food, it signals timing, it presses against the roof of your mouth to trigger the swallow reflex. In early life, the tongue was more than expression. It was guidance, a silent shepherd helping your body survive long before your brain could think about it. Even yawning, which you might feel now as your body grows heavier, involves a shift in the epiglottis, a careful widening, then narrowing as air flows deep into the lungs. The sound that sometimes escapes as you yawn, that soft gasp, it's air brushing past your vocal cords, over your epiglottis, and through a system refined by both luck and necessity. And there's one more strange truth. As we age, our swallowing reflex can weaken. The timing grows less precise, the epiglottis grows stiff. It's one reason pneumonia becomes more common in older adults. Food or drink slips unnoticed into the lungs, silently, slowly. Doctors call it silent aspiration, and it is, in a way, the fading of that ancient protective reflex. The guard at the gate, growing weary. But for now, yours still works. Perfectly, quietly, every day. When you sip water, when you swallow saliva, when you drift off and your throat shifts, and your body decides to wake you for just a second to swallow in safety. You may not thank it, but it does the work anyway. In some spiritual traditions, the breath is seen as sacred, the place where body meets spirit. And in that narrow passage, the throat, balance is maintained between life and risk, between breath and food, voice and silence. So tonight, as you sleep, know this. There is a quiet choreography happening inside you. A dance of flaps and reflexes, of gates that open and close without fail. You breathe because they allow it. You sleep because they protect you. And even in darkness, your body remembers. You shift slightly in bed, maybe to one side. The mattress adjusts, your spine settles. And though you likely never think about it, something at the base of your back, something small, quiet, and long forgotten, is still there with you. It's your coccyx, your tailbone, the ghost of a tail you no longer have. Long ago, your ancestors wore their tails proudly, for balance, for communication, for swatting away flies, for grasping branches. In monkeys and lemurs, tails are still tools, still expressions of movement and emotion. But in you, it has been reduced to a quiet curve of fused vertebrae, tucked beneath the spine, hidden under skin, almost forgotten, almost, yet not quite gone. Because your tailbone still serves. It anchors muscles, tendons, and ligaments, the soft scaffolding of your pelvic floor. It provides structural support when you sit, especially when you lean back or shift your weight. It helps with posture, and in some cases, it even matters for childbirth. But its original purpose, balance, swing, expression, that's lost to time, or mostly lost. There are stories here and there of people born with vestigial tails, tiny extensions of tissue, sometimes with muscles, sometimes with nerves. Rare, yes, but real. Surgeons remove them in infancy. They're not functional, but they're echoes, remnants of the blueprint your body still carries. You might not feel like a creature that once had a tail, but your DNA remembers. Some researchers believe tails began to shrink as our ancestors became more upright. When we walked on 2 legs instead of 4, balance shifted. The tail's role faded, the spine compensated. But it didn't erase the tail completely. It simply stopped updating it. That's often how evolution works. Not by deletion, but by obsolescence. What's even stranger is how phantom tail syndrome has been reported in rare cases. People feeling sensations, tingles, even pain in a part of the body that no longer exists, or perhaps never fully developed. It's similar to the way amputees feel phantom limbs. The brain doesn't easily let go of its maps, which raises the question, if your brain still holds a place for a tail, did it ever truly leave? You might wonder why it mattered so much in the first place. What was it for? In primates, tails helped with arboreal life, swinging from branches, stabilizing leaps, balancing narrow paths. For some species, the tail became prehensile, capable of grasping, coiling, and even hanging entirely from trees. Like a fifth limb, you don't have that. But perhaps in a dream, you still swing. Some evolutionary theorists argue that the loss of the tail wasn't just physical, it was behavioral. As our ancestors spent more time on the ground, interacting in complex groups, gesture and posture took over. The tail's expressive role was replaced by eyes, hands, mouths. Body language became a richer language. Others point out that losing the tail may have been a random mutation, not selected for, but not strongly selected against. It simply stuck because it could. Still, we use the word tailbone. Still, we carry it. Still, we wince when we fall and land on it, because despite its size, it hurts when bruised. A reminder that it's not useless, just quiet. Even the shape of your spine, with its gentle curve and endpoint, whispers of a creature once built for climbing, balancing, leaping. And at times, you feel that echo. When you stretch, when you bend, when you squat. The movement isn't just new, it's ancestral. There's something poetic about the tailbone, a structure that holds no pride, no visibility, no use in daily life for most people. And yet, it remains, a silent hinge at the edge of the self, the last page in the long story of your spine. Even in embryos, human fetuses grow visible tails during early development. Tiny, curling structures, about 1/6 the size of the body. Most are reabsorbed, the vertebrae fuse. But for a brief moment, you had a tail again. You just didn't get to keep it. And maybe that's the story of many parts of you, shaped by what once was. Designed for a world your body still believes in. The coccyx sits like a folded signature, a flourish from evolution that never quite faded. Not useful, not beautiful, but undeniably there. So as you rest tonight, imagine it, not as a flaw or a fossil, but as a whisper of trees, of balance, of holding on and letting go. You may not swing from branches anymore, but you still carry the root. The room is still. The sheets rise gently with your breath. But if the air grew colder, or if a strange sound brushed the silence, or if a memory crept in unexpectedly, you might feel it. A prickle along your skin, a subtle shiver, tiny hairs standing upright in unison, goosebumps, an odd name, a familiar sensation, and an ancient message. You felt them when you're cold, when music moves you, when fear creeps in, soft and silent. And maybe you've wondered, why does my body do this? The answer begins in fur. Long before clothing, before campfires, before shelter, your ancestors wore their warmth. Thick coats of hair that fluffed in the cold and flattened in the heat. When danger approached, their fur would rise, a reflex called piloerection, making them look larger, more threatening. The mechanism still lives inside you. Your tiny hair follicles are each attached to a minuscule muscle, the erector pili. These are the muscles that contract when you feel a chill or a sudden emotion. They pull each hair upright and in doing so ripple the skin. A warning, a reaction, a memory. But of course, You have no fur to raise. So all that remains is the pattern, a ghost response, a vestige of a different form. What's strange is how emotion can trigger the same effect. A powerful chord in a song, a line in a poem, a glance that feels too heavy to hold. These aren't physical threats, and yet your skin responds as if they were. Why? Some scientists believe goosebumps may have become linked to emotional arousal through evolution, a kind of nonverbal expression, even without speech, a way for the body to signal tension, vulnerability, depth. It's possible that our ancestors, sitting around fires, heard stories of danger or love and felt their skin react, just as yours does now. And here's something curious. Some people get goosebumps more easily than others. They call them frisson seekers, those who experience intense bodily reactions to aesthetic moments. Not just chills, but full-body shivers, hair standing tall, breath catching in the throat. These people may have more sensitive neural pathways connecting auditory processing, emotion, and motor control, a circuit that lights up when something touches the core of their being. Perhaps you're one of them. Or perhaps you remember a time when something, a sound, a story, a sudden silence, gave you chills you couldn't explain. It wasn't fear. Not exactly. It was awareness. A reminder that your body is always listening, even when your mind can't find the words. And the association with fear? That, too, runs deep. Animals puff up their fur or feathers when frightened, not just to appear larger, but to prepare for the cold shock of adrenaline. Goosebumps insulate, protect, prepare. In humans, the effect remains, not to warm us, but to alert us. It's why horror movies often show someone shivering, skin prickling, even in a warm room. It signals more than cold. It signals something is wrong. But sometimes it signals the opposite. Beauty can cause goosebumps, awe, reverence, moments when the world seems bigger than you, but not unkind. When you hear a voice that feels ancient, when you see something or someone that pierces through everything else, your skin reacts before your thoughts catch up. It's not just poetic, it's neurochemical. When you feel these chills, your body may be releasing dopamine, your brain's pleasure signal. The feeling you get from anticipation, music, love, and sometimes, in that strange middle ground between comfort and vulnerability, your skin doesn't know how else to respond, so it remembers. And the shiver comes. There are debates, of course. Some scientists say goosebumps in response to music are just a byproduct, a cross-wiring of the fear system. Others argue they serve no function at all anymore. But maybe function isn't the only thing that matters. Maybe the presence of a reflex, even one that seems outdated, is its own kind of truth. A thread, a connection. Because in that moment, your skin becomes a canvas for feeling. So as you lie here now, warm, safe, still, notice the softness of your arms, the way the air moves across them, and imagine those tiny muscles under each hair, waiting quietly. Not anxious, not active, but present. You are the descendant of creatures who wore their emotions on their skin, who felt the world not just in thought, but in sensation. And that story of touch, of cold, of connection still lives in you. So if something tonight stirs your breath, if a memory lingers, if a melody echoes through the quiet and your skin responds, don't silence it. Don't brush it away. That shiver is a whisper from the past, and it speaks in sensation. Even in darkness, your eyes remain alert, closed perhaps, but not fully disengaged. Behind your eyelids, they flicker and shift, scanning a world you no longer see. You might dream of people, places, strange creatures that vanish at dawn, but your eyes behave as if something out there still needs watching. There's a name for this: rapid eye movement, or REM. It's a phase of sleep, but it's also an echo, a habit, a hint, because your eyes have always scanned, not just for beauty or comfort or light, but for threat. Your visual system evolved to detect danger quickly, accurately, and without needing conscious thought. When something moves, especially in your periphery, your eyes snap to it. This is called saccadic movement, fast, darting motions designed to capture visual changes before they capture you. It's why you startle when a shadow shifts, why your eyes track a flicker, even when your brain hasn't decided what it is. Long before cities and walls and locks, your survival depended on this. Predators watched from the brush, other humans too. Not all were kind. So your ancestors learned, not through training, but through biology, to scan, to anticipate, to look, even when nothing was there. And now, even in dreams, your eyes continue the ritual. Nocturnal scanning is one of the most puzzling human behaviors. During REM sleep, your body is paralyzed. A safety feature to keep you from acting out dreams. But your eyes move as if watching, tracking, observing something beyond the veil. What are they seeing? Some researchers suggest the eyes are simply responding to imagined visual scenes, that in your dreams, when you turn your head, your eyes respond as if the world is real. Others believe it's deeper, that this movement represents an internal rehearsal of survival, that the mind, in its deepest rest, is still preparing for a world where being caught off guard is dangerous. There's evidence that in ancient humans, those who awoke faster, who could scan quickly and focus instantly, were more likely to survive surprise attacks. And so your visual reflexes became hyper-attuned to motion, especially sudden or unnatural movement. To this day, you're more likely to notice a snake in the grass than a flower. Your brain prioritizes fear. It's not personal, it's efficient. And yet, your vision has always carried a double meaning. Not just detection, but connection. Eye contact is one of the most intimate, vulnerable things two people can share. It signals trust, curiosity, even danger. And in the animal world too, gaze is power. In primates, a direct stare can mean aggression. In dogs, it can mean challenge or play. In humans, it can mean everything. But where did this begin? The shape of your eye, particularly the white sclera, is unique among most animals. Very few creatures show so much of the eye's surface. It allows others to easily track where you're looking. This suggests that humans evolved for collaborative attention, the ability to follow gaze, to understand intention, to work together. Your ancestors didn't just scan for predators, they scanned each other. And perhaps that's why your dreams include faces, eyes, expressions. Even in sleep, your mind keeps studying people, watching, wondering. Some say your eyes never truly stop scanning, that even in sleep, your visual system stays half awake, alert to light, to shape, to motion. That's why a flashing light or the soft glow of a screen can tug you from sleep's grip. Your eyes are still listening. In the past, the flicker of firelight meant safety or danger. It meant someone was near, something was happening, so your eyes learned to respond. Now, they still do. Screens have replaced flames, but your reflex is the same. And there's something eerie in this. The idea that your dreams might be shaped in part by your eyes' movement, not the other way around. That your gaze, even behind closed lids, helps guide what you see in sleep. A two-way mirror, a feedback loop between biology and dream. You might ask, does this make your dreams less personal, less magical, or does it make them more profound? Because if your eyes move in dreams the same way they move in life, then maybe dream and waking are closer than you think. maybe the line is thinner than it feels. So tonight, as your eyes drift under your lids, as flickers of images rise and fade in the darkness behind them, remember, you are still watching, still listening, still preparing. Not out of fear, but out of inheritance. The hunter watched you once. Now you are both hunter and storyteller, watcher and dreamer. Let your eyes rest. They've been scanning for a very, very long time. Your breathing has slowed, muscles loosen, the silence deepens. But inside, beneath your ribs, your stomach still stirs gently, coiled like an animal at rest. It waits, it remembers. And even in this quiet, its story continues. Because your stomach was never just a vessel for meals. It was a guardian against famine. In the long arc of human history, hunger was the rule, not the exception. Food came with effort, danger, patience. Days passed with empty hands and growling bellies. Your ancestors didn't eat 3 times a day. They ate when they could, and not always enough. And so the body learned to hold on, to prepare, to fear emptiness in the background of every breath. Even now, in this age of abundance, your digestive system carries that caution, that biological memory of hunger. Your ghrelin levels, the hormone that triggers hunger, rise predictably, not based on true starvation, but on habit, anticipation, emotion. Have you ever felt hangry? It's not just mood, it's survival instinct. Your brain interprets the absence of food as stress, and your gut responds by slowing, by signaling, by bracing. It's fascinating and a little eerie because your gut is wired like a brain. It's often called the enteric nervous system, a complex network of over 100 million neurons in your digestive tract. That's more than in your spinal cord. It operates semi-independently from your brain, regulating digestion, immune response, even mood. Some call it your second brain. Others think it may have been the first. Before complex thought, before language, you felt the world through your stomach. Butterflies before a speech, nausea in grief, that deep ache in moments of fear. These aren't metaphors, they're signals. Chemical, neurological, ancient. Researchers still debate why the gut and brain are so intertwined. Why serotonin, the so-called happiness molecule, is mostly produced in your intestines. Why the vagus nerve, which links your brain to your organs, sends more information up than down. In other words, your gut doesn't just receive instructions, it speaks. And sometimes it remembers pain your mind has forgotten. Think of the stomach growl, a gurgling, echoing sound in the quiet moments. It's not just about hunger, it's peristalsis, the coordinated muscle movement of your intestines, pushing food and gas along. But in ancient times, these internal motions were signs of readiness, your body asking, is it time to search again? Now, they come at meetings, in silence, in bed. Your body doesn't always know your world has changed. There's another strange truth. When you starve, even briefly, your metabolism doesn't just slow. Your body shifts into preservation mode. Hormones adjust, digestion recalibrates. The liver converts energy more carefully. The fat stores, especially in the belly, become guarded. And when food returns, your body doesn't immediately relax. It remembers. It hoards. It prepares for the next empty stretch. It's why crash diets often fail. Why fasting brings strange emotional states. Why the smell of food can trigger salivation, even if you're full. Your stomach is not just responding to now, it's reacting to then. And that's why emotional eating is so common. Comfort food doesn't just satisfy the tongue, it soothes the nervous system. Warm soup, soft bread, sweet milk. These aren't just flavors, they're signals of safety, of survival. You're not broken for craving these things. You're human. Anciently, beautifully human. There's another eerie detail. During times of stress or trauma, your digestive system can shut down completely. Soldiers report losing appetite in combat. Survivors of disasters speak of forgetting hunger. It's called gastrointestinal shutdown, and it's a defense mechanism, a way to redirect energy to fight or flee. Your stomach waits until it's safe again. Tonight it is. Tonight there are no predators, no icy winds, no hours to walk before food. Your stomach softens, its muscles unwind, the acids slow, it too begins to rest. But it still listens, because once a meal missed meant weakness, vulnerability, and survival depended on not forgetting that. You carry those memories now, not in thought, but in tissue, in motion, in the deep sounds that echo from your center when all else is still. So as you drift towards sleep, place your hand on your belly. Feel the rise and fall, not just of breath, but of history. You are the descendant of the hungry, the gatherers, the waiters, the hopeful, and your stomach, even now, believes in your survival. You are still now, wrapped in blankets, cushioned by the curve of your bed. But deep inside, in the architecture that holds you together, there are secrets, curves, cradles, strange shapes with stranger histories. Your bones, the framework of your body, whisper stories older than land itself. Because once, long before you walked, long before you stood, you swam. Not you, but those who came before you. And your skeleton remembers. Let's start with your spine, a flexible, segmented column that curves in a gentle S shape. It supports your weight. It allows you to twist, to bend, to move upright. But it wasn't always meant for this. The early form of the human spine was designed for buoyancy, not gravity. It moved like a wave, flexing side to side in the water. You can still feel that motion when you swim, the way your torso shifts with each stroke. That's not invention. That's reversion. Even now, your vertebrae retain the same basic plan as those of fish, just repurposed. And then there's the tailbone, which we've met before. Not just a remnant of tails, but of balance in water, a finless rudder for steering through ancient seas. The curve of your ribs, protective, yes, also echo the barrel-shaped torsos of marine mammals, designed to withstand pressure, to flex under shifting forces. You don't dive that deep anymore, but the structure remains. What about your hands? The bones of the human hand contain more joints than most terrestrial animals need. That dexterity evolved not only for grasping branches, but for paddling. In embryos, the early human hand and foot resemble those of aquatic animals. Webbed, soft, limb-like. The webs disappear as you develop, but occasionally they persist. Slightly fused toes, skin between fingers, tiny atavisms, flashes of a form that once belonged to water. And your ears? Those delicate spirals on the sides of your head hold something even stranger. Inside each ear is a set of 3 semicircular canals. They control balance, equilibrium, and they are nearly identical in shape and function to those found in dolphins, seals, whales. You may not think of yourself as an aquatic creature, but your body says otherwise. There's a theory, controversial but compelling, called the aquatic ape hypothesis. It suggests that a period of semi-aquatic life shaped parts of human anatomy. Our bipedalism, our hairless skin, our ability to hold breath for long periods, even our subcutaneous fat. Mainstream science remains skeptical, but the features are there, even if not from a full return to the sea, perhaps from the littoral edges, the tidal shallows where survival demanded new skills. You are one of the few primates that can swim instinctively, that can dive, hold breath, float. You can cry underwater. You can hear underwater. You are, in some quiet way, built for it. And here's an eerie detail. During fetal development, human babies are surrounded by amniotic fluid, salt-balanced, warm, protective. It mimics the ocean, the environment that first shaped all vertebrate life. And the reflexes babies display when submerged, holding breath, slowing heart rate, opening eyes, mirror those of seals and otters. This is called the diving reflex, and it fades as we age, unless we train to remember it. But it never disappears completely. Your lungs, too, are a restructured version of air bladders from ancient fish, designed first for buoyancy, then for breath, now for speech, for sighs, for laughter. But the blueprint remains. And there's one more thing. Your bones, over time, carry signs of how you've lived. In ancient remains, scientists can tell if someone swam often. The shoulder joints grow differently, the ribs shift subtly. The body remembers what it does most. Your ancestors who fished, who dove, who lived by rivers and coasts, their bodies adapted. Your body may still carry those changes, even if you've never swum a single stroke. And when you float, when you allow yourself to be suspended by water, something deep within you relaxes. A biological recognition, a homecoming. So tonight, as you lie still, imagine that. The sea inside you, the water in your blood, the silent rhythms of tide in the beat of your heart. You are not far from the ocean. You are made of it, bone by bone, breath by breath, dream by dream. You inhale slowly now, deeper than before, the kind of breath your body takes only when it knows you're safe. And yet, even in this soft stillness, your breath tells a story. One of fire, one of flight, one of forests and fear, and of every ghost your body never stopped carrying. You don't think about breathing most of the time. That's the magic of it. In, out, in, out. A rhythm more ancient than language. But this isn't just air. This is memory. Because breath is the oldest motion you know. The first thing you did when you entered this world, before sight, before hunger, was draw air into your lungs. And somewhere, in the cells that still make up your lungs, is the echo of the very first creatures that ever breathed. They weren't human. They weren't even animals as we know them. But they needed oxygen, just like you. In a strange, beautiful way, you are still that ancient being. Refined, yes, but not replaced. Your lungs are enormous, you know. They stretch across your chest, light and spongy, expanding like wings each time you inhale. And when you lie down, like now, they shift, open wider, rest deeper into your back. They know the posture of rest. The alveoli inside them, tiny sacs where gas exchange happens, are delicate, almost floral structures, like coral or the inner folds of petals. Millions of them. Breathing isn't just one motion. It's a billion soft exchanges per minute. And what are they exchanging? Oxygen, carbon dioxide, but also messages. When you're stressed, your breath shortens. When you cry, it hiccups. When you laugh, it pulses. When you sleep, it flows. Your breath is your emotional language, and it is ancient. There's a reflex built into you called the startle breath. When something shocks you, a loud sound, a sudden fall, your body inhales sharply. It's a gasp, yes, but not of surprise. It's a preparation, your body flooding itself with oxygen in case you need to run, to climb, to fight. Even though there is no tiger in your room tonight, your breath doesn't know that. It prepares anyway. But breath can do more than react. It can calm, it can heal. Controlled breathing, long, slow inhales, longer exhales, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It slows your heart, softens your muscles. It tells your body, you are safe now. You are home. You can sleep. No words required. In meditation, in prayer, in grief, in love, breath is the constant, the tool that bridges mind and body, life and death, the known and the unknown. And here's something eerie, but true. Every breath you take is made of atoms once breathed by others. The carbon you exhale might once have filled the lungs of a mammoth. The oxygen you pull in may have passed through the chest of an ancestor, long forgotten. You're not just breathing air, you're breathing history. And so, the ghosts remain, of what you once were, of what others have been, of how survival feels in the chest, in the ribs, in the whispering winds of your own lungs. And yet, breath is not heavy. It does not weigh you down. It lifts you. Each exhale is a release. Each inhale, a quiet return. So as the room stills, as your mind drifts, let your breath take over. Not forced, not held, just allowed. Let it flow like water down a hill, like mist over sleeping trees, like something ancient that's never needed permission. And now your body begins to yield. You've explored bones and reflexes, muscles and whispers, the slow, strange inheritance of every creature that led to you. There's nothing left to figure out tonight, only to float. The breath continues, but softer now, slower, like the hush between waves. Your hands grow heavy, your jaw unclenches, the muscles around your eyes, once alert, now soften, smooth, still. No more stories to chase, no more questions to solve, just the slow exhale of a body that has remembered everything it needs to. Let your thoughts fall, one by one, like leaves into quiet water. You don't have to hold anything now, not history, not wonder, not even yourself. Let the bed hold you. Let your breath hold you. And if dreams come, with eyes that scan, with hands that reach, with bones that still climb trees or swim seas, let them. They are yours. They have always been yours. That's all for tonight. Let your mind keep floating or drift into sleep. I'll be here again next time.